Hey, friends! Today we're embarking on an epic journey through the history of one of the world's most beloved dishes, the kebab. Juicy, fragrant, with that smoky vibe, it's won over millions of hearts. But have you ever wondered where it came from? Who was the first genius to skewer meat and roast it over a fire? And why is kebab so diverse? From Turkish döner to Armenian khorovats, the story of kebab goes way, way back. Picture this. Thousands of years ago, somewhere in the vastness of the Middle East, nomads were chilling by a campfire. No stoves, no ovens, not even decent cookware. Just meat, fire, and maybe a couple of sharp sticks. That's where the magic begins. Historians think the earliest versions of kebab popped up in the Neolithic era, around 10,000 years ago, when humans were just figuring out how to cook meat over flames. Back then, it wasn't called kebab, it was just survival food. But the real breakthrough came later, with nomadic cultures. Persians, Turks, Arabs, they all added their spice to the kebab's evolution. Why nomads? Because they didn't have time for fancy cooking. Skewer some meat on a sword or a stick. Hold it over the coals. Boom, done. Quick, delicious, and filling. There's even a legend that Alexander the Great's warriors picked up this trick from the Persians in the 4th century BC after conquering their lands. Is it true? By the way, the word kebab comes from the Persian kebab, meaning roasted meat. Later, Arabs, Turks, and others borrowed it, tweaking the recipe along the way. So, kebab isn't just food. It's a cultural phenomenon that's traveled the world with people. Fast forward to the Middle Ages. Kebab's no longer just nomad grub. It's hitting the big leagues. This is especially true in the Ottoman Empire, which, starting in the 13th and 14th centuries, stretched across the Balkans to the Middle East. Ottoman chefs turned kebab into an art form. Suddenly, you've got shish kebab, meat on skewers, Adana kebab, spicy minced meat with peppers, Iskender kebab with yogurt and tomato sauce. Every region added its own twist, making kebab insanely diverse. Medieval chronicles mention Ottoman sultans throwing feasts where kebabs were the star. They'd grill meat right in the palace courtyard, and the aroma would waft for miles. It wasn't just a meal, it was a flavor party. And here's the cool part. Kebab wasn't just for the elite. It was everywhere. Markets, caravanserais, streets, wherever there was fire and hungry people. Around this time, kebab starts spreading further. Via the Silk Road, it lands in India, where local chefs spice it up with turmeric, cardamom, and coriander. Hello, tandoori kebab. On the Caucasus, it morphs into shashlik, a word that's also Turkic, from shish, skewer. Every culture tweaked it to fit their vibe, turning kebab into a culinary chameleon. Now, let's jump to the 19th and 20th centuries. The world's changing. Big cities, railways, steamships, people migrate, and kebab tags along. In Turkey, this is when the legendary döner kebab shows up. Credit goes to a chef named Iskender Effendi from Bursa. In 1867, he decided horizontal skewers were boring. He went vertical, letting the fat drip down, keeping the meat juicy. Then he sliced it thin and served it with flatbread, yogurt, and veggies. That's the döner we know and love today. But the real kebab boom hit in the 20th century, when Turks, Arabs, and others started moving to Europe and America. In Germany, döner became iconic thanks to Turkish workers arriving in the 60s and 70s. Rumor has it the first Berlin döner dropped in 1972, and it's been a street food legend ever since. Add tahini sauce, fries, cabbage. Bam! The European kebab that's taken over millions. Meanwhile, kebab hits the US, where it gets the American treatment. More sauces, more calories, more everything. In Russia and post-Soviet countries, shashlik becomes a picnic must-have. Who hasn't argued over the best marinade by the grill? Onions, vinegar, kaffir, mineral water. Everyone's got their secret recipe, and that's part of kebab's story too. Today, kebab's more than food, it's a cultural bridge. You can hit up any corner of the globe, from New York to Tokyo, and find a local spin. London's got spicy shawarma, Mexico's tossing in guacamole. Australia's frying an egg on top. Even veggie and vegan kebabs are trending. Falafel, tofu, mushrooms instead of meat. And that's awesome, because kebab's proven it can roll with anything. Yet with all this variety, it hasn't lost its soul. It's still the food that brings people together. Think about hitting a kebab joint with friends after a long day. Big portion, crispy bread, sauce dripping, pure bliss. Or gathering around a grill at the dacha for shashlik. Kebab's not just taste, it's feelings, memories, tradition. Oh, and it's even popped up in pop culture. Movies, memes, songs, it's everywhere. Remember that Avengers scene where Tony Stark's craving shawarma after the fight? Not just a gag, it's proof kebab's part of our lives. So that's the kebab story, from nomadic campfires to modern food courts. It's a dish that spanned centuries, uniting people, cultures, and flavors. Recipes change, but the heart stays the same. Simplicity, taste, and the warmth of fire. What's your favorite kebab? Shashlik, döner, shish, or something wild? Drop it in the comments. If you loved this tasty trip, hit that like, subscribe, and ring the bell. More delicious stories are coming your way.